What's up, fight fans? It's Elias here. Earlier this week, I had the opportunity to interview Michael Maradeo ahead of his fight against Not Logan Paul on the inaugural Creators Fight League card that's happening on April 25th. This is actually the very first interview posted to this channel and hopefully many more to come. So without further ado, let's get to the interview with the gorilla. How are you doing, man?
Great, man. Just ready to get out there and entertain everyone and just have a great time.
Hey, man, I'm glad you took the time out to interview with me and talk with me today. You have a big following on Instagram and on TikTok and stuff, but for the boxing fans, tell them a little bit about yourself.
So not many people really know who I am. I mean, I took down some of my content, started to rebrand, some modeling and whatnot, which didn't go too well. So now it's, time to go into boxing. But first thing about me, I love to go play pickleball on a weekly, volleyball. I'm a very active person, so you'll see me training the next second I'm playing pickleball, right after I'm going to play volleyball. I just love to stay active. You obviously, this is an influencer thing. How'd you get into content creating? It was just kind of random. I mean, one day I was doing a cowboy shoot. It's kind of weird. So I did a cowboy shoot. I asked my brother to shoot this video of me just walking as like a shirtless cowboy on TikTok. I posted it and just jumped like 1.something million views. So I just kept doing it, these walking shirtless videos, and then I transferred over to Instagram. I did some of those same videos, then I put gym content and doing a lot of quote videos. So that's kind of what started skyrocketing. I had a lot of younger generation that wanted to lift older people or whatnot, look after me, and then look over my content and whatnot.
That's interesting because, you're seeing a lot of people in influencing and content starting to make the transition to boxing. Obviously, we know about in 2018 Logan Paul and all of them started making that transition and started making it popular and growing that kind of field in boxing. What kind of made you decide to go into this transition and practice the sweet science?
About 2 years ago, I decided to try boxing. I think out of just someone just be like, hey, let's box. I really didn't know anything about it, so I just started doing it on and off for 2 years. Did like 1 or 2 unsanctioned fights. Those went all right. And then just recently, my brother kind of just tagged me to post for like some creator friendly. I was like, I don't know anything about any of these people, but hey, and then I just DM'd the page, said, hey, sign me up. That simple. Sign me up is all I put. They contacted me back and we just got started. I mean, I probably just had a 6 days ago, they told me about this. So I haven't trained in like 7 months for boxing. So now I think this is what's pushing me to have something to shape and actually win instead of lose. Like, I feel like boxing, some people get started, they don't have a goal. If you have a goal, it pushes you more to strive to be good.
Speaking of training, April 25th, obviously the inaugural Creator Fight League card. You will be fighting Not Logan Paul. I've actually looked at the Instagram page, and your guys' fight poster has the most engagement out of all of them. Tell me about your opponent and tell me about what you think of him as an opponent.
I didn't really know who he was. I mean, when they told me who I was fighting, I was like, Not Logan Paul. What's his Instagram? I didn't really put 2 cents together to search it up. So I finally just searched it up and I was like, oh, it's this guy. I've seen him around, but honestly, I don't think he's anything special. He just looks really skinny. He doesn't really properly know how to fight. I mean, I feel like I can definitely put him away early rounds, depending, what's going on. But as a character, he thinks he's goofy, and I think that's what's going to set him up for failure. He's just going to have his little goofy outlook in life, and whatever he just thinks is going to happen to him.
Yeah, and I noticed in the poster it said that he is a Southpaw. Have you been training this whole time to fight a left-handed fighter, or have you just been going in there and kind of just implementing your own game plan?
So yeah, I've reviewed a lot of his old videos. Some where he performed all right, good, got knocked out. Kind of see how he fought. It definitely does say Southpaw, but I've noticed he does switch from Orthodox and Southpaw sometimes within the fighting stance. So I've been kind of practicing my rotating left on him, rotating right, just trying to see both angles. I don't want to just practice one side and he switches up on me and I get confused. So it's better to make sure I have all of the way. I've also been training sparring some taller guys at a 6'3", 6'3", 6'4", so it's not just like those tiny guys on my height.
That's good. And if you could describe your own fighting style, how would you describe it? Are you looking for the the finish? Are you more of a power puncher? Are you trying to be a slick fighter, or are you trying to be kind of more of a foundational guy?
I mean, I've never really been on the spotlight, in like a ring for this. So I'm kind of curious myself how I'm going to come out. From what I've seen, I like to come in and out, a lot of movement. You know, I might get caught up with some dumb things I like to throw. So it's really all my debut. So I think that's what's going to show what kind of fighter I really am. Do I have the fighting stuff? Am I a dog in the ring, or am I a wimp? But in reality, I know I'm the dog. I'm not going to just step in there without knowing I'm a dog.
You said you have a press conference coming up next week. Is there any nerves, you know, or are you feeling any antsy or any nerves, you know, as we draw closer to fight week?
I think when I first found out about the fight, I definitely felt anxious and nervous, you know, because I took it last minute. But as time's going on, I feel more comfortable as I, you know, do more spars against people and whatnot. And I think that's a huge factor, is being comfortable. I mean, I know my opponent has definitely been in the ring as well, so he's going to be more comfortable. But my goal is to be above his level, make him uncomfortable, and just keep doing my thing.
How many rounds is this fight? I forgot to ask.
It's going to be 3 rounds, 3 minutes.
3 rounds, 3 minutes. All right.
I prefer no headgear.
Yeah. So if it was your preference, you want no headgear.
Clean shot.
What in this training camp, what do you think has been the hardest adjustment? Especially because, you know, you got the call like several days before the fight was announced. What has been the biggest adjustment? What's been the biggest like obstacle to overcome in your very first fight camp?
Well, I would definitely say the muscle aspect. I've been, you know, my whole life, or a lot of my training has been revolved around lifting, and I feel like it slowed me down tremendously. So just trying to shed off some of the muscle to build some speed, thickness within myself, and just, you know, that lactic acid is really not it. If you want to box, don't have it.
Oh man. And I think too is like I remember you saying earlier in this interview that, you know, you weren't like too into boxing, but prior to it, are you a fan now?
I definitely watch it now. I mean, I watched it a little bit. You know, my brother always got me into it. My brother was huge on it, so I always listened to him. He influenced me to kind of like really like it more. So yeah, I mean, I still have a lot to learn, a lot to watch.
Is there any boxers like right now that you are looking at and you're like kind of like, oh, that's my favorite fighter right now?
I like Canelo just because, you know, he's a shorter guy, inside fighter, and I don't know if that's just because, you know, I'm fighting a taller guy and I was looking at videos of how to take down a bigger guy. So I mean, it could just be that. I don't really know too many boxers' names. You could call them out and I'd be like, huh? But I'm definitely getting into it, trying to like, or I just watch them and I see them, but I just don't know the names too well.
Is this going to be a one and done, or you want to continue boxing on this league and maybe, you know, transition into maybe a pro fight or something like that?
My goal right now is on free to, you know, get this fight, do this fight, see how I perform. I mean, it would be nice to go further into Creative Fight League or whatever other opportunities like Misfits and whatnot. I mean, that's my end goal, is to do influencer boxing. I mean, it does determine like what's going to be determined by like how I fight on the 25th. So if I just get my ass obliterated, which, you know, it definitely won't happen, I'm gonna go in there with confidence. That's really what's going to determine my whole style of proceeding with boxing.
We're about to end the interview. I just want to give you the floor to give a message to the fans. Give a message to Not Logan Paul for next week, April 23rd. Take it away. You have a message for the fans.
You know, I've always said I love being a boo factor, but honestly, I'm gonna do whatever the fans want to do. You know, cheer me on. I've always said, like, fans aren't fans of family, because within boxing, we build a community around each other. And for Not Logan Paul, I'm gonna let you know that I don't deal with big tree stumps, trees. I'm just gonna chop you down like a motherfucking big ass tree, and you're gonna go timber falling down.
The Gorilla, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me, man. It's been a pleasure talking with you, my brother.
Y'all have a good one.